Hello everyone. Today we're going to be answering the question, what does leave your answer in terms of pi mean? This is something that many of my students have asked me about, so I figured I would just make a short video to address it. And so we're obviously not going to be talking about pies that you eat, like apple pie. We're going to be talking about the Greek symbol. This symbol is used to represent the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. And y'all are very familiar with this. You learned this in middle school. A lot of times y'all would approximate it to 3.14. But in geometry, we are going to be a lot more accurate. And so we're going to start leaving things in terms of pi. And so my students always get stressed about that. But actually, it's less work. To leave something in terms of pi is less work, and it's more accurate. I don't know about you, but I want the engineers that are building the bridges that I'm driving across to not be rounding and rounding and rounding again. I want them to be as precise and accurate as possible. I want my engineers to be accurate. I want my doctors to be accurate. I also want my mathematicians to be accurate. So the first thing you need to remember, and the reason we do this, is that pi is an irrational number. So what does it mean to be irrational? It just means that it never ends. So that's why you can see this dot, dot, dot here. This keeps going, 3.14159. But it also never repeats. There's no pattern in it. And so it is approximated to 3.14, but what it's actually equal to, it never ever ends. So this would not even fit on a calculator screen, which is why they have the pi button for that ratio. So here's what your answer is going to actually look like. It's going to be some number, whatever the number is, some number of pies. So there'll be a coefficient there, like maybe it is 16 pi, or maybe it is 8 pi, or maybe you only have 1 pi, but it's going to be a number in front of the pi symbol. That is going to be what it looks like in terms of pi. So there would be an understood 1 right here. Okay, so let's actually do a problem with it. Find the circumference of the circle, leave your answer in terms of pi. So remember, the circumference formula is twinkle, twinkle, little star, circumference equals 2 pi r, where r is my radius, which is the distance from a point on the circle to the center, which is what we have here. So I'm going to plug in a radius of 6 miles. So I'm going to plug in 6. What it means to leave it in terms of pi is to multiply everything else out and then leave the pi in your answer. So 2 times 6 is going to give me a total of 12 pies. So exactly 12 pies. 12 pi miles total. That is in terms of pi. There is a pi in my answer. It is written in terms of pi. If I wanted to round that, which is what many of you are used to doing, if I wanted to see what that is approximately to see if it makes sense, we'd go to our calculator and we would type in 12 times pi. You can see on the calculator screen, it looks like it ends, but it keeps going, and which is about 37.7. So when I write 37.7, that is no longer exact. As soon as I say about 37.7, that shows that I'm rounding it. So that's about 37.7 miles. So this is my, let me show you what I'm talking about. This answer right here is way more exact and way more precise. This answer over here is going to be rounded. Okay, so if we want the exact answer, we leave it in terms of pi. Okay, find the area of the circle, and we want to leave our answer in terms of pi again. So you'll see this wording a lot. Area of a circle is pi times r squared, where r is my radius. Right now in my picture, I'm given a diameter. So if the diameter is 8, we know that the radius is going to be half of that, which is just going to be 4 feet. And so what I'm going to plug in for my radius is a 4. So I'm going to write pi times 4 squared is going to be my area. When I do 4 squared, I get 16. So my exact area of this circle is 16 pi feet squared. That's just because area is always in units squared. So in terms of pi, I have 16, oh goodness, I have 16 total pies there. 16 pies are what my area is. That's the space inside of this circle exactly. Whereas circumference was the distance around the circle. Area is going to be the space on the inside of the circle. And so that's exactly what the area is, 16 pi. If I wanted to round that, we would just type it into our calculator, 16 times the pi symbol. Use the pi symbol, not just 3.14. This is about 50.3 if I rounded it to the nearest tenth. I could also round that to the nearest hundredth. That would be 50.27. And you could keep rounding and keep rounding. Unfortunately, when you round, your answer is less precise. And so what we're going to do, let's round that to the nearest tenths of about 50.3. 50.3. So my exact answer in terms of pi is going to be 16 pi, which is about 50.3, but again, that's rounded. So the answer I'm really looking for, and a lot of times what it's going to be looking for on the ACT and standardized test, is the exact answer. This is the exact answer, whereas this is the rounded answer.